In 1998, a decision was taken by the Council of Ministers to distribute Ali Sabah al-Salim as a residential area and prohibited the construction of any new industrial facilities. At the time, there were less than 50 factories operating, but by 2005, there were 75 factories present in the area. And so, again, the Council of Ministers issued another decision banning the development of any factories. However, by 2010, you can see that the industrial facilities continue to increase in the area despite statements issued by government representatives and orders and decisions issued by the Council of Ministers over the past decade. Now, there are 160 factories, testimony that the private owners have more influence than the power of the country's laws, and that nobody is committed to stopping their establishment. As a result, the residents of the area have expressed deep disappointment with the government's lack of action towards the 10-year-old problem.
The Environmental Public Authority has confirmed 15 chemical substances present in Ali Sabah al-Salim, which include formaldehyde, benzene, styrene, fine particles or particulate matter, toluene, sulfur oxide, nitrogen oxide, ground-level ozone, phenol, ethylbenzene, xylene, acetaldehyde, non-methane organic pollutants, chromium, and lead. The pollutant measuring stations in Ali Sabah al-Salim indicate that the chemical pollutants exceed the global limit by 19-fold, making the air that the families and children inhale extremely toxic and deadly.
These pollutants severely affect the human body, and their effects can remain for a long time. This is a very serious issue, and the longer these residents live in these hazardous environmental conditions, the more harm it will cause as time passes.
These pollutants result in several dangerous health problems and life-threatening illnesses and diseases, the most common of which are asthma and skin allergies.
One of my children has a strange condition, and his body is filled with a rash that resembles eczema. The weird thing is that when I take him to his uncle's house, the rash disappears, but when he returns home a day or two later, the same rash reappears. If we leave the country, his eczema goes away completely, but returns when he comes back home. What more evidence do you need? It is my civil right as a Kuwaiti to live in a safe and clean environment. The government favors the traders who own the private companies over the residents. This is a humanitarian issue and not a trading one. How long do we have to fight, and what are we fighting for? Our souls? Our children's souls? Are we not the sons of our nation?
As you can see, the amount of people that suffer from asthma in Ali Sabah al-Salim is almost 14 times higher compared to the other cities in Kuwait. Moreover, official figures provided by the Audit Bureau have shown that in 2005, a total of 1,399 residents were diagnosed with asthma. And the most recent official figures show that this number has increased to 8,074 in 2009.
Pollution also affects vital parts of the human body, like the liver, kidneys, and the lungs, and can cause several types of cancer. Moreover, these pollutants also have negative effects, especially on women and children. For instance, there have been several reports of symptoms of abortion, complications in women's menstrual cycles, deformation of fetuses, and infertility.
The amount of people that have been diagnosed and have died from cancer in الهيمان has increased severely. I am one of these people, and my 6-year-old nephew, who was in kindergarten, was diagnosed with cancer. He was a child that used to walk and play with other children. We took him to be treated in London, and they asked if we lived next to factories. They told us he has brain cancer. Is that fair? Why should an innocent child suffer like this? They should either remove the factories or remove us, because we are fed up and we just want to live like normal human beings, and we are suffering day and night. The problem has even torn families apart, and wives divorced their husbands because they don't want to live in these harsh conditions, and they want to protect their children.
The issue began as an environmental problem, but has also evolved into a social one after several domestic disputes and divorces. Moreover, there have been many fatalities recorded in Ali Sabah al-Salim, but one of the most outspoken was in December 2008, when a 6-year-old girl called Dima passed away from a brain tumor. It was a tragic event, and one that deepened the outcry to help solve these dangerous standards of living.
My eldest children were diagnosed with asthma, and I used to treat them at the local hospital, and they would go for a checkup every 2 weeks. So I told the doctor that we are coming to you every other week, and you give my sons medicine and they get better, but then after they become sick again, and they start coughing day and night. The doctor told me that the reason they are sick is because the level of pollution present in the area you live in, and if you want your sons to be cured, you have to leave this area, and they will never get better as long as they live there. In 2006, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer. We tried to treat her, but it was God's will to take her from us, and this was due to the high level of pollution in الهيمان.
This is the medical report that states that my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, and it was issued on the 6th of May 2008. It shows the last checkup that she was supposed to attend at the King Faisal Specialist Hospital in Riyadh, and it was on the 6th of January 2009. She died before this date, and I like to call her my daughter Dima, the martyr of الهيمان.
Since 2003 to this date, the record of movement of Ali Sabah al-Salim is enriched with actions from volunteers and on the official level, such as government bodies and institutions. The problem was addressed by Environmental Public Authority, the Public Authority for Industry, the Ministry of Health, the Public Authority for Agriculture Affairs and Fish Resources, Kuwait's municipality, and several other bodies responsible.
They held several meetings, discussions, and researches to find a practical and realistic solution to solve the severe problem, but no concrete action was taken other than statements issued in newspapers and other press publications.
Even the residents of Ali Sabah al-Salim have taken the issue into their own hands and have held many protests and strikes throughout the past years.
In May 2010, 15,000 students did not attend school in protest of the air pollution, which was organized by the area's Volunteer Environmental Protection Committee and with 100% participation. The students staged a 2-day walkout to send a peaceful message to the government that they are suffering, but it resulted in no action and the problem is not even close to being solved. The residents have also taken the matter to the courts and have filed legal charges against the factories surrounding their homes, but they received no assistance from either the executive or the legislative bodies, as Kuwait's laws do not provide for or recognize such issues as a serious problem. Furthermore, the issue has caused political turmoil in Kuwait and has no longer become just an environmental issue. It has led to an interpellation of the Prime Minister, who heads the Council of Ministers. The Environmental Public Authority, EPA, which is one of the main bodies monitoring this problem, has not taken any active solution to end the crisis for the residents of this area, as they have appointed unqualified people to the posts occupied by the EPA and has resulted in the mismanagement and improper treatment of the country's environmental situation. The EPA also does not have the proper tools to monitor pollution levels, and as a consequence, this has aggravated Ali Sabah al-Salim's pollution and other environmental problems. There are 2 proposed solutions that would help solve the problem of Ali Sabah al-Salim area, and they are to direct the path of high-voltage power lines from their current aerial track to underground cables, to remove all the private factories which cause 80% of the air's pollution, the industrial facilities, and the waste burial sites from the area and maintain it as a safe residential area, or to remove the entire residential area and designate Ali Sabah al-Salim solely as an industrial zone.
This pollution does not only affect humans, but also our animals. They don't speak, but we can feel that they are suffering just as much as we are. My dogs are severely affected, and one of them had a miscarriage and lost 11 puppies. I'm very caring with my dogs, and I take them to the best vets in Kuwait. Even my cats have lost many litters and suffer as the dogs do. I hope what has happened to my animals does not happen to my children, because this is not an easy thing to deal with, and we hope that more people can stand beside us and help us.